Okay, so you've shared this piece, a reflection on Black Saturday, and it really struck us. It feels like a powerful way to look at a moment that often gets, well, a bit lost between Good Friday and Easter Sunday.
It really does.
Our goal here in this deep dive is to really unpack the meaning inside this seemingly quiet day, to go beyond the basic story and find those insights, those aha moments that, our listeners appreciate.
Absolutely. And the reflection itself describes Black Saturday so well. It's that day in between. Jesus has died, but he hasn't yet risen. It calls it a time of profound stillness, a heavy silence, a period of just waiting.
It's easy to just skip over it, isn't it? Mentally jump from the cross to the empty tomb.
Right.
But this reflection suggests there's real depth in that quietness and that apparent lack of action. Okay, let's really get into it. What does the piece say about the nature of this day?
Well, it uses some really vivid language. A day of stillness, a day of silence. It calls it the in-between, the quiet middle, even the pause in the story.
A pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, a pause in maybe the biggest story ever told. That alone makes you stop and think.
It really does.
And the reflection paints this picture. The noise of Friday fading, but the weeping continues underneath it all. You get this image of the disciples, right? Hiding, grieving, confused, just afraid.
Completely. Their hope, as the text suggests, felt shattered, utterly destroyed.
Think about their perspective for a second. They thought he was the Messiah, the king, and now he's dead, buried.
It's more than just sadness, isn't it? It's like the whole foundation of their world, their understanding of God's plan just crumbled. It really shows how our own expectations can box us in sometimes.
Yeah, that hits home. We all have those times, don't we, when life throws a curveball, hopes get dashed, and you're just stuck in that awful in-between.
That void.
Exactly. Waiting for an answer, maybe feeling like prayers just aren't landing anywhere.
And that leads right into what the reflection says about sorrow and waiting. It actually encourages us to sit in that ache, to stay with the sorrow, hold the tension, and crucially, wait without knowing.
Wait without knowing. That's tough.
It is. It's not passive, though. It's like an active choice to stay present in something difficult.
Which feels so countercultural today. We want quick fixes, immediate results.
Right. And the reflection makes this beautiful point. Faith isn't always loud trumpets and declarations. Sometimes it's just staying put, simply staying, choosing to hope, even when hope itself feels buried 6 feet under.
Like Jesus's body in the tomb, the reflection uses that imagery wrapped in linen, laid in stone, cold, still.
Lifeless. From the outside looking in, it seems utterly final, like game over, end of story.
You can feel the despair in that description.
Totally. But then right there in the darkness, the reflection introduces this counter-narrative, this idea that heaven is still at work, even in the grave, even when nobody can see it.
So Black Saturday isn't just an ending.
No, it argues it's also a beginning, a day filled with promise, even if unseen. Jesus had talked about rising on the third day, remember?
True, but the disciples, they didn't really get it, did they? The reflection points that out.
Not fully. And is that just like us? How hard it is to believe in the dark, to remember promises when pain is screaming in our ears, to trust that silence doesn't mean absence.
That silence point is huge in the reflection. It really emphasizes that the silence of God is not the absence of God.
Yes, that's maybe one of the core messages. It suggests that this silence, this seeming inactivity, is often where God does his deepest, most transformative work.
Where hope starts to reform.
Exactly. Reborn in the quiet. The reflection even says death begins to crack at the edges during this time. There's something powerful happening beneath the surface.
Wow. Okay, so think about the disciples again. The reflection talks about the cost of their waiting. They had no Sunday morning cheat sheet.
None at all. No hymns ready, no celebratory services planned, just silence, sorrow, and the heavy weight of the unknown.
But what did they have? The reflection mentions this too.
They had memory. They remembered who Jesus was, his words, his actions, the miracles, the love they felt.
That counts for something.
A lot, actually. And maybe, just maybe, a tiny spark of faith remained. Enough to keep them together, perhaps praying, maybe just lighting a candle against the overwhelming dark.
It feels like the reflection is inviting us, the listener, into that space too, to not rush through our own middle times.
Yeah, don't skip from the cross to the empty tomb in your own life. Sit in the tension sometimes. Allow the silence to speak, maybe.
And that waiting period, it stresses, isn't empty space. It's not a void.
No, it's described as full of hidden hope, A sacred stillness. It holds space for everything: the mourning, the questions, the doubt, but also that quiet, persistent faith.
Learning to wait on God even when you don't understand.
Even when you feel abandoned or when the answers aren't coming, that's a tough lesson.
The reflection also reframes Jesus' state. He wasn't just gone.
Right. It says he was resting, not gone. And crucially, fulfilling prophecy, not failing. Even though to the world it looked like total failure.
That's a powerful thought. It suggests that sometimes we need to be buried to rise again, metaphorically speaking.
We need the dark to really see the light, don't we? And maybe we need the silence to finally hear God's whisper.
And so Black Saturday gives us permission. Permission to just be.
Exactly. Permission to be still, to not have it all figured out, to grieve, to long for what's next. It's called sacred waiting.
There's a validation in that for those times we feel stuck.
Definitely. And underneath it all, there's this current of trust the reflection keeps returning to, that even when it feels impossible, resurrection is on the horizon.
It paints this picture of unseen activity, heaven moving, angels preparing, victory coming, even in the not yet.
It's about holding on to that hope, trusting against all odds, really, believing in the dark.
So the character of this day, Holy Saturday, it's holy but quiet.
Yes. Not loud, not dramatic like Friday or Sunday, no big signs and wonders, but filled with something else.
Like what?
Presence, patience, a sort of quiet courage, even silent worship.
That requires a certain kind of faith, doesn't it?
It really does. The kind of faith, as the reflection puts it, that stays even when there's nothing left to feel, that waits when everything else says give up, that remembers when the world forgets.
Wow, that's deep.
It is. And the reflection loops back to why remembering this day matters so much. Remembering Jesus in the tomb,
Remembering the cost.
the cost of our salvation, exactly, what it actually
Yeah.
took, honoring the waiting, the stillness, the middle. It's not just filler. It's a vital, sacred part of the entire story.
And it connects everything together. That quote.
Oh yeah, that's powerful. Without Saturday, Sunday doesn't shine as brightly. Without the silence, the song wouldn't sound as sweet. Without the waiting, the joy wouldn't be as full.
It really lands that interdependence. Each part needs the others.
Absolutely.
And it ends with such a personal, powerful declaration of faith, almost a whisper. I will wait on you, Lord, even in the silence, even in the stillness, even in the grave, because I know you are not finished. And I believe that Sunday is coming.
That's the invitation, isn't it? To find that trust within ourselves.
So the big takeaway here, after diving into this reflection, Black Saturday, so often overlooked, is actually packed with lessons.
Yeah, lessons about waiting, about finding faith when everything's quiet, about trusting that hidden work is happening even when we can't see it. Really relevant for navigating our own times of uncertainty.
Definitely. Which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Mm-hmm.
Think about those in-between times in your own life, those periods of waiting, maybe doubt, or just stillness.
Mm-hmm.
Could they, like Black Saturday, be holding some hidden potential, some space for quiet growth, for transformation you can't see yet? What kind of resurrection, what kind of Sunday morning might be waiting just over the horizon in your own story?
That's a powerful question to sit with.
It really is. Thank you so much for sharing this reflection and for diving deep into it with us today.